Welcome back to my movie review series. Today's review will be the 2015 Universal and Illumination movie, and that is Minions. The movie premiered on July 10, 2015. The movie airs on TBS, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, Freeform, Bravo, Syfy, FX, FX Movie Channel, TNT, FXX, and streaming on Peacock, Netflix, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime Video. Minions are small, yellow pill-shaped creatures which have existed since the beginning of time, evolving from single-celled organisms into beings which exist only to serve history's most evil masters, but they accidentally end up killing all their masters, rolling a Tyrannosaurus into a volcano, letting a caveman get mauled by a bear, crushing a pharaoh and his subjects with a pyramid, and exposing Count Dracula to sunlight. They are driven into isolation after firing a cannon at Napoleon while in Russia and start a new life inside a cave, but after many years, the minions become sad and unmotivated without a master to serve. This prompts three minions named Kevin, Stuart and Bob, to go out on a quest to find a new master for their brethren to follow. The three journey in 1968 to New York City and stay at a department store for the night, where they come across a hidden commercial broadcast advertising VillainCon, an Orlando convention for all villains. The next day, they hitchhike a ride with the Nelsons, a family of thieves. At the convention, they meet Scarlet Overkill, the world's first female supervillain, who unexpectedly hires them and takes them to her home in London. They phone the rest of the minions to get them to join. Scarlet plans to steal the imperial state crown from Queen Elizabeth II, promising to reward the minions if they succeed, but also threatening to kill them if they fail. Will the minions be successful in this heist, and will they gain the respect from Scarlet? The story is mostly decent, as while there are times where it can be annoying and cliched. Some of the jokes don't land, some of the heart and charm of the main Despicable Me movies is missing, and I don't think we really needed an entire movie with the minions, as I felt they were at their best in small doses during the main Despicable Me movies. This movie still has quite a fair bit going for it, like most of the jokes still being decently funny. The plot itself is still decent and interesting enough. The tone overall is still fun and light-hearted. There are still some fun action scenes, and the movie does still have some of the charm of the prior movies. The humor in this movie may not be as funny or clever as it was in the Despicable Me movies, and there are several annoying and weak jokes and moments, but a good chunk of the humor does still land and get some decent laughs, like some of the banter between the minions and the other characters, the dark humor and occasional adult joke, some of the usual minion shenanigans, and the gags and slapstick. The movie may lack most of the heart and charm of the Despicable Me movies, as this movie does mainly go more for the comedy, but there are at least some moments in this that are still genuinely charming. The action scenes are just as fun and exciting as ever, with scenes like the police chase with the Nelson family, Scarlet taking on all the villains at VillainCon, the minions heist to get the crown, and the climax where the minions take on Scarlet. The animation is still just as solid as it was in the Despicable Me movies and does look pretty good, with the characters having some nice designs that are often accompanied by some pretty fluid and very lively movements. The backgrounds and settings are very well crafted and do have a very nice amount of detail, and there are some pretty solid special effects. The characters are kind of a mixed bag, as there are plenty that are decently enjoyable and do have some good chemistry and dynamics with the main minion protagonists Kevin, Stuart, and Bob. Scarlet is a pretty fun and entertaining villain, as well as her husband Herb, but there are other characters where I wish they had more screen time and as a bigger purpose in the story, because they seemed interesting and did have some pretty funny moments, like the Nelson family. Also, there is a neat cameo from a kid Gru at the end of the movie. The voice acting is still pretty good like before, as the voice actors still do a good job with their performances, like P.A. Coffin as Kevin, Stuart, Bob, and the other minions, Sandra Bullock as Scarlet, John Hamm as Herb, Michael Keaton as Walter Nelson, Jeffrey Rush as the narrator, Steve Cale as Gru, and more. Hater Pereira returns from the first two movies to provide another pretty solid and well-composed score that does sound nice, and it does capture the movie's comedic, light-hearted, and action-packed tone. Verdict: 7.5 out of 10. While this movie may lack a lot of the charm of the Despicable Me movies, and it may not be as funny, this is still for the most part a decent enough spin-off.